microscope, looking at bodily fluids under the microscope, but they're always bizarre. I'm never, I wake up before the plane actually lands or crashes, but it's always a plane or a helicopter, and it's crashing. And it doesn't make me feel very comfortable.
I can tell. In the dreams, there's about 20 different categories of dreams, and one of those categories is called a fear dream. Fear dreams reveal the things that you're afraid of that will happen to you. And this is a fear dream. This dream is about you're afraid that if I get involved in something that appears it's going to really do good, spiritual things, flies high in the sky, nothing to support it, then something is going to go wrong. And I'm looking at the results of that. And so, it's me. So basically what the Lord is saying, you have a fear of getting higher in me that I want to conquer so you can get high in me. Okay? Yeah, so she says she had it for several years. Why would you keep having a dream for several years? Because you hadn't got it yet. Now you get it. You probably will not have that dream again. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yes.
My wife and I are building slides on a mountain. The mountain belongs...
Like slides you slide down?
Yes.
Okay.
And the mountain belongs to us. The mountain is covered with pure white snow. The trees on the mountain are not. They're vivid green. The slides are red. The two that I'm working on two, and my wife is working on two. The two that I'm working on are about halfway up the mountain. The two that she's working on are about a quarter of the way up the mountain.
Now, are you saying they're completed that far, or that's only the height they're going to go?
They're completed to that point.
Okay, but they will go higher, but they're only completed that far. Okay.
But we stop and take a break in our work and have a snowball fight with our children.
Okay, good.
And while we're having that snowball fight, a lot of other people come and get behind us on the mountain, and I have the sense that they're coming to help finish the work. They're all wearing red, and the slides are red.
Okay, Yen, your dream is? I had to do that. I don't know why. Here's basically what it means. Red is the color of one, wisdom, anointing, and power. So what God is doing in you. Then the mountain would represent the mountain of the Lord. The pure white snow would represent the purity of what God's called you to do. So you're called to create something that will give people a thrill in the spirit, and to do it with wisdom, to do it with anointing, and to do it with power. So it involves wisdom, anointing, and power. Other people are going to get behind you because when they recognize what you're doing, what you're building, what your concept is, they're going to agree with that concept. And in their agreement, they're actually going to take on the very nature of what you're trying to build. The red clothing represents them identifying with the red slide. We are part of this power, anointing, and wisdom. We wear the colors of it. We're clothed in it. And so it means that they're taking on, they're not just behind you in it, like I'm going to get behind you in this thing. I'm not going to get behind you in this, I'm going to take it on myself. So God's going to give you something, then you might be a little ahead of your wife on this, but you're both called to do the same thing. So is that you? Not that you're a bad woman. But it may mean that you had the idea, you started on it, and she recognized it was really God, and she jumped in it with you. The snowball fight means in the process of doing all that God's called you to do, never stop having time to play. And here's why. Play stirs creativity like nothing else will stir it. You'll come back from play and be far more creative than you spent that whole time trying to be creative. You have to disengage in order to be creative, to have revelation. You have to disengage to have it, not engage to have it. So too many times we pastors, we leaders get to saying, I've got to stay engaged, I've got to stay focused, I've got to do this. No, the reality is I got to go play. Let the computer process everything, and when it's through processing everything, the answer will surface, and I'll be ready to go. But it will not surface if I keep taking information in. It just adds to the computer trying to process all the stuff that I'm trying to take in, so there's no time for it to process. You have to get away and play to allow it to process. Okay? That's what the Snowball Fight's all about.
What about the green trees with no snow on them?
The green tree with no snow on it means this is going to be surrounded by life. Life. And green's the color of conscience. And so God's going to, and the conscience is one of the three parts of the Spirit. Spirit is wisdom, communion, conscience. And one of the three parts of the Spirit being conscious is that He will tell you when to go, when to woe, how to build it, how to shape it, how all this. He will surround you with His Word and His feeding in to let you know how to build what you're building with wisdom. Okay? It's good. That's good. That's good.
All right. You think his was weird. This is sort of a two-part dream. The first one, now I teach a class on Revelation.
Okay.
It's my passion. And I also have been talking to a friend of mine about the book series Left Behind. So this might figure into this dream. I'm with a group of saints. We're in the end times. We're trying to harvest souls as fast as we can. We're hiding from the Antichrist. We're in a beautiful house, but we aren't living in the house. We're living secretly in the basement. Mm-hmm. In order to get to the basement, you have to step in the bathtub and flush the toilet.
I understand this.
And then the bathtub goes down, and you're down in where the saints live.
Right.
I have a very creative mind. So, anyway, so that was the first part of it. So I was with my Bible study ladies, and we were all the saints. And then the second part of the dream, it sort of just morphed into this other dream. Again, we were all together, the Bible study group. We were on an airplane.
So is it like scene 2, or is it the same?
It's
a
like
different
scene.
night?
It's the same night.
Same
it's
night,
like
okay.
back-to-back dreams.
Okay.
So it's like scene 2. So we're all still together. We're on an airplane. Typically, in the past, when I've had airplane dreams, they're always crashing, and I wake up, doing that jerky thing.
Yeah.
This time, the plane starts to go in a spiral. I tell everybody, don't worry, everything's cool. God's got us firmly in His grip. And so then I remember reaching into the cockpit, doing something, but I wasn't really flying the plane. Because in the past, I've tried to fly the planes, they've always crashed. But anyway, so I reach into the cockpit. All of a sudden, God grabs the plane, and we start floating like a leaf floats down from a tree, landed down almost like a helicopter among all these other planes and other pilots, and everybody's going, how did you do that? And I went, it was just God.
Very good. Okay, so let's take the second dream first, because it actually refers to the first dream, and that is basically this. You don't know how to do what God's about to call you to do, but He's going to get you to the ground. If you try to mess around with the controls, you won't know what you're doing, so you back off because you realize, I've tried this before and I crash. So you stuck your hand in the cockpit, but you didn't say you did anything really. And so you might have tried to have a hand in things, but you realize it's beyond my capability. And then God got you to the ground and got you, in essence, through what you went through, or what you're about to go through. The dream that you had in front of you, where you flushed the toilet, you step in the bathtub, you flush the toilet like is an elevator, goes down, and you're able to get out, the toilet goes back up, and so you're able to hide from everything. Basically, it's telling you that He's going to give you some ingenious ideas about how to avoid the persecution that is coming, and that you'll be alive when it happens. And it basically says ingenious ideas about how to avoid that persecution. So it's scary, but at the same time, here's what I've learned. Without in Daniel, the ones who did great exploits because there was persecution going on. It's like, in a way, it's like we want anointing without having the trial that justifies the anointing. And if you're, like I suspect you are, because it seems like I see in you signs of an emerging warrior, then this is actually going to end up being exciting for you. Yeah. So good. Bless you.